Hey everyone, Wyler here, and today we got a laid back video right before one of the holidays that I'm sure every guy has hated at some point in their lives, Valentine's Day. I've hated Valentine's Day many times in my life because it was usually a reminder of something I'm not doing right in my life, and it made me reflect on what I don't have and that I'm not where I want to be yet. This is a video for the guy who's kind of in a weird transition or reflection phase of life. This could be the guy who's single on Valentine's Day but doesn't want it to be that way. They've been dating, they're looking around for their partner, and they've been trying things, and maybe it just hasn't gone their way yet. This is for anyone really looking for more in their lives. The first thing I have to say is I get it. I've been there. I've spent many Valentine's days alone playing Call of Duty, playing Halo at 8 p.m. February 14th as a 24, 25-year-old male, while everyone else is out with their lady. I'd often be, pretending not to care, but really, deep down it bothered me because that's what I wanted in my life as well. I've always known that I wanted to be with someone and have a family, and it's been one of my biggest life goals. So for me, being single, it gave me this level of anxiety or urgency, like, wow, this really important thing in my life, I'm failing at it. It was a big reality check for me every time Valentine's Day came around because I had money, I had, seemingly a good life, good friends. So what's up with me? Why is this not working for me? This can also happen in areas outside of dating as well. I mean, maybe you haven't figured out your career or what you want to do with your life yet. And then you look around and everyone seems to have it figured out except you. They got great careers, great jobs, they're making money, they have a house, they're getting married. And then you look at your situation and, dating is just tough right now. There's no way around it. In your 20s, it almost seems like if you didn't find a person in school or university, you're just kind of screwed over, left to fight with everyone else. And if you're single, you're probably asking yourself, why am I still single? Because I know I certainly was during these moments, and I've spent many years in the trenches of dating. And then you look at, things like careers and, job market's tough right now. People are living paycheck to paycheck, working jobs they don't like, and it's tough out there. So I'm making this video to talk about some of these weird phases of life, and we will get through them. These are just some things I thought about to get through these weird transition phases. You've got time, you got plenty ahead of you to get what you want, so let's talk about a few things. First thing to understand is that your life is about you. It's not about your friends. Looking around at friends and marriages with, a house and kids and people posting their great life on Instagram, it can be tough when that's what you want. And obviously, if they're your friends, you're happy for them. But deep down, sometimes it makes you feel more lonely. One thing to keep in mind is that you don't want to fall for the comparison trap, especially on social media. Many people aren't actually as happy in their relationships as they seem. I mean, you're comparing yourself to a highlight reel. I mean, I bet a lot of these people who are posting on Instagram on Valentine's Day, oh, this was the best night ever with the love of my life, they go and fight after that. I mean, you're miles ahead of those in bad relationships, and you'd much rather be single instead of with someone toxic. Also, when it comes to money, sometimes the guy making 300 grand and buying all the cool stuff can be the most miserable. You just never know. Money's never made me happier personally. And some of my happiest days, I didn't have much money. A relationship or a great job and more money doesn't magically make life perfect. It's just one part of the bigger picture. And if you feel down now, chances are a person or money's not going to fix that. You have to focus on your path. There's a reason the man upstairs wants you to be single in this moment. So explore and figure it out what you can learn from this time period. Being single and in transition phases has been some of the greatest periods of growth for me because you have no other choice. I mean, when I found myself single again, I would always take an audit of my life. I'm not where I need to be. I'm not mature. I don't have good habits. I'm not growing. I'm not the man I need to be right now. During these phases, you have to look inward. What can I do to get better? To be a better person and get people to notice and respect you. I mean, think of how many people, get in a relationship and they get overweight, they stop learning and just become stagnant. Transition periods can be extremely valuable if you use them right. Also, spending time alone can be powerful. I mean, through the silence and the dinners and nights alone and going to events alone, I learned how to be comfortable being alone, and this has been a superpower for me. If you don't need anyone or any money to be happy and don't rely on anything for your well-being, that's a great thing to strive for. And honestly, if you never learned how to be alone, this can make you too dependent and set you up for failure. Only when you learn how to be alone are you ready to be in a relationship. And the same thing applies to money. Learn how to be satisfied without spending lots of money. I mean, think of how many times an unhappy person gets their huge payday, and then it leads them down this path of misery and they just spiral out of control. If you're happy with little, you certainly have a better shot at being happy when you have a lot. So I've always had an overthinking problem, especially with dating and my career. And one thing you got to do is let stuff go. If a date didn't go as planned, stop thinking about what you did wrong. If you mess up a project at work, learn from it and just move on to the next one. Don't overanalyze why you're single and stop being so hard on yourself. You're single. Even if that's not where you want to be, That's what it is. You messed up the project at work, maybe even got fired. It's in the past. How do we learn and move forward? The dating and working landscape's messy, unpredictable, and honestly exhausting. But of course, failure is going to happen. So thinking about it all the time is not going to change anything. You're just making it a bigger problem than it actually is. You're not defined by your job or whether or not you're in a relationship. So go out and do cool stuff in life that's interesting to people. And this is just much easier to do when you're single. Also, when you're single, you have a lot more time for you. Sometimes when I was single, I wish I took advantage of the time more because I have less of it now. Imagine if I started this stuff earlier, YouTube, or I focused harder on my career. There's no better time to go for your dreams than when you have a lot of time on your hands. Instead of just playing all the video games and wasting and procrastinating, imagine where I'd be if I was a little more productive with my time. And I promise you, if you're single, one day you're going to look back and wish you did more with your time. Use these transition periods, or whatever it is, to reflect and grow. The freedom you have is a gift. You don't have to check in with anyone before making a decision. You can basically do whatever you want. It's easier to level up without any distractions. And think of all the men who settled too early and they regret it. Now they might be just stuck in a mediocre life. You really do have the chance to do something great. So enjoy it and use your freedom because it might not last forever. If you're stressed or sad about being single or not where you want to be, relax. You have time. You have time. Especially if you're under 30, you're very early in the game, and many people meet their partner way later than they expected. The right relationship happens when you're ready, not when you're desperate. Many people in my family and in my life got married, mid-30s or later, and I even know a few who had families in their 40s. Some people don't even find their dream career until they're in their 50s. So instead of focusing on what you don't have, just focus on what you can build right now. Use this time, use this misplaced energy, and put it towards you. Level up your fitness, your finances, your social skills. Build something meaningful with this extra time you got. Now's the time to do that thing you've been putting off. And when you feel ready, go on some dates. Girlfriend doesn't just appear at your front door. Plus when they see you've been putting in the work to better yourself, they'll be much more interested in getting to know you further. Anything could happen. You could meet someone tomorrow. You could really radically change your life in a year. That's only if you're putting in the work and putting yourself out there and trying. This whole video is just to say, one day you're going to look back at this moment and realize it was one of the most important phases of your life, the moment where you built the man you were meant to become. So enjoy your journey, and when the time is right, you won't just find someone. You'll be ready to find someone. You'll be ready for that career. Thank you for being here, for listening this far. This community is amazing. It gets me through my life, honestly, and I hope this helps. So go out and enjoy yourself. Take some time for yourself. Don't worry about everyone else. This is your journey. Go own it. Let's go, gentlemen. It's our year. Talk to y'all later.